Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live news up here at Tadisawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi. I'm
Natalie Ford to look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro.
In the headlines tonight, parents of qualified applicants who could not be placed under the computerized school selection placement request government to suspend the system.
And enraged customers of Alpha Capital Savings and Loans demand their deposits and investments.
Also ahead this evening, youth with bachelor's degree identified as being the highest in the unemployment bracket.
And in business this evening, Ghana to receive second tranche of $190 million from the Millennium Challenge Corporation.
On the international front tonight, gay sex no longer a criminal offense in India following its Supreme Court ruling. Stay with us here on News 360. We bring you the details of these stories and much more news. As always, Bulletin streams live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
Also live on DSTV channel 279. And just feel free to join us with the views as we get live and interactive this evening here on News 360. Our first story, parents of qualified applicants who could not be placed under the computerized school selection placement want government to scrap the system till inherent challenges are addressed. But head of public relations the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chumampofo, has given assurance that no qualified applicant will be denied access since the ministry is working tirelessly to rectify the problem.
382 students have so far not been placed as they could not be matched with any of their school choices. They have been asked to opt for self-placement to get themselves into schools with vacancies. The process is, however, not without challenges, hence the establishment of solution centers to address the issues. One of such centers is the Black Star Square in Accra.
When you go into the system and key everything, when you enter, you see the site, it will hold on and then it will tell you wrong index number. You will try several times and it's giving that. When you go to their office, you ask, oh, they say it's not here, go here. When you go here, they say, no, it's not here, go here. Then you see that you are going round. And at first, old system is not like that. And now they said a new system and we are suffering like that. I think it's too much.
I am very frustrated my son was not placed. Even after buying the checker, we spent several hours at the internet cafe, but we were told the system is down. All I want is my son placed.
Many, like Nancy Ajay, left the center without any solution. Mr. Samuel Tego tells us his daughter was placed in a school she did not choose at Sefirioso in the Western region.
Consider where the person is coming from, because it is on the form. You will say it that, oh, this person is coming from Accra. If I'm placing that person to Sefirioso, why can't I place her in the boarding? But I place her day. Where is he going to sleep? 16 years. I have to go and rent a place for her. Or I have to go and beg somebody there for my daughter to go and stay with the person before schooling. No, if the system, we cannot run the system with this, why can't we put it aside? And then we think something better.
An official of the Ghana Education Service explained the placement is done with some specific considerations which include merit, program of choice, residential status, and 30% space for students from public schools. But Isaac Ofosu disagrees with the 30% priority for students from public schools.
They are all Ghanaian students. You are telling me you have place allocated for public students. Why? Does it mean the public students, they don't teach them, so their grades will be minimum, and so the private schools will get the higher grades, so we should limit them to some extent? No.
Head of Public Relations at the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chumampofu, admitted there are issues with the website, but technicians are working to rectify the challenge.
I think that it's a technical challenge. I have come to gather that information from this particular site, and so I'm in touch with our technical team to quickly look at it so that people will be able to choose their schools, because here we cannot choose a school for you. Even if you are on place, you have to do the self-placement, choose the school yourself.
She also advised parents and students alike with results checkers to log onto the www.cssps.gov.gh website instead of the www.myjhsresults.com.
It is also possible that WAEC did not edit that because that site was used last year. So if they bought it from WAEC, yes, WAEC is a genuine source, but it could be that they did not edit the site. So those complaining that they checked and then they said their index numbers were wrong, you see, I realized that they were really visiting the wrong site.
She assured parents whose wards could not be placed that a number of schools with vacancies have been uploaded on the portal where applicants will be able to make their choices. Students placed on the green track will resume on September 11, while those on the gold track will resume on November 8.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Education Service says it will adopt innovative means to monitor the performance of students who will be home while their colleagues are in school. According to Deputy Director in charge of Public Affairs at the Ghana Education Service, Isaac Asiedu Ode, extra classes will be organized for students in the gold track ahead of their enrollment in November.
Unless you have to go to a cafe, pay extra for it. Why is that the case? And what are you doing about it?
Yes. In fact, first of all, we have to apologize to the general public for the inability of the system to generate the codes as we anticipated. Previously, they have to go to the private cafe operators to get the codes. But this time around, we wanted to save them from this trouble of the market demands where often they inflate the cost of these cars. So we said, by being behind your phone, just dial *713*24# and it will deduct 5 cedis. You're able to get your code and go onto our website to have your status checked. But it couldn't work out. We had plan B. The plan B was to revert to the previous system. So last night, we have asked the post offices, the rural banks, to have these cars sold to all interested persons, whether individually or in bulk, so they can have the code. Once they have the code, the system runs in, the cssps.gov.gh website. That's where you can check your status.
Beyond the apology to the parents, then what next?
Yeah, we actually anticipate that not all the candidates, the 490,000 candidates who are qualified to be placed, will be able to find spaces in all their 5 choices. We knew that. That's why we introduced the self-placement. The computer doesn't want to place anybody in any school that he has not selected. Otherwise, we could have just done that placement, because we're talking about competitive, meritorious placement system, where you select a school with, say, aggregate 9, but their superior passing candidates over there, they will displace you. You have to go to your next option school. That one too, you go and meet people there too who might have selected that place as what their first choices, and they might have a superior person. That one to be displayed. So it will run through till you don't find any school in any of your 5 choices.
Those with the gold track who are going to stay at home till 8th of November, did you engage parents at any point in time on how to handle these kids while they're at home?
The ministry, GES, they have met various stakeholders, the clergy, heads of schools, parents at all levels. You have a situation where the current capacity for the senior high school, it means that about 181,000 will not go to school. Who child wants to stay home for this child to go next 3 years? No. You're asking about the children who will be in the house waiting for their turn. We are engaging teachers, national service people in every district. They are placing about 4 teachers in every district or circuit where classes will be organized for them in every space
while
that they find themselves.
Home.
Why they are at home? That's that they are having their vacation.
Where would these classes be taking place? Are parents aware of the center?
Oh yes, we have a lot of church halls or community
centers.
centers.
To do the classes in church halls?
We are. It's a temporary kind of a structure. And already people are organizing classes in some of these structures already. And even we can even take advantage of some private schools when they close. We can go in there and also have the classes.
This is supposed to take place just next week, and so from what you're saying, I don't hear any certainty in it. You're saying it's something we are still in the process of doing, but the students' first batch is going next week. So when is this classes and the motivation for teachers and the structures and church halls going to start?
I hope you know about NAPCO. They have completed the recruitment of NAPCO people.
We're going to stay on this really and find out if the classes will go as planned. But away from this and education, getting into customers of Alpha Capital Savings and Loans, they're calling on the Bank of Ghana to help them retrieve their deposits and investment. For 6 months, the company's offices and banking halls have been closed, with management nowhere to be found.
Alpha Capital Savings and Loans, with its head office at Adabaka in Accra, were in the news in the early part of the year, with disgruntled customers demanding their locked-up investment. The management of the company began paying customers between 200 cedis and 1,000 cedis, but asked for renegotiation payment dates of customers with more than 1 million cedis. 6 months on, the Savings and Loans Company have closed its doors, with its management nowhere to be traced. Customers come to their offices on daily basis to see if their doors would be open to receive their monies.
The year 2015, I went on peacekeeping mission in Somalia. So while there, I was bringing some of my allowances back home to do investment. Somewhere February 2018, this year, my money got matured, so I came to actually withdraw. When I came, they told me they were having some crisis. For that matter, I should give them some time. And anytime I come here, I'm not even able to see them. Like, they have vanished. In fact, I'm very hot, actually, because I had money which I thought I could use to do something better. But now, I'm rather going for loan from other places, and I'm rather paying interest out of it. And as I'm here, I'm looking for them, but I can't find them. That's the situation I find myself.
A BOG Banking Supervision Department report obtained by TV3 Business on Alpha Capital Savings and Loans, among other things, show connected lending to Samtro Company Limited, whose managing director is the shareholder and director of Alpha Capital. The Savings and Loans also established a subsidiary, Alpha Securities, with the Securities and Exchange Commission without the approval of the Bank of Ghana. It also misreported its financials to the regulator, breaking the Banking Act.
A worrying development there. We'll bring you more on it subsequently. But let's stay in the financial sector, as founder of Imani Ghana, Franklin Kujo, has added his voice to calls for Parliament to make its probe into the banking crisis public. At a forum in Accra, he said the taxpayer deserves full disclosure.
The 25-member Finance Committee began its probe on events leading to the collapse of some banks. The committee has already quizzed managers of KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers and Consolidated Bank. The hearing has been in camera.
Parliament must not sit in camera for the hearings. My senior colleagues at Imani have linked Parliament's decision to sit in camera over the banking difficulties to conducting a marriage ceremony for two black magicians, male and female, performing vanishing acts in the dark.
Some other Ghanaians earlier petitioned the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, to allow for a public hearing of the probe into the crisis, but failed. 7 banks have collapsed in Ghana within the last year. According to the Bank of Ghana, whereas some of the banks had liquidity challenges, others obtained their banking licenses through dubious means. Nuang Falong, TV3.
Let's stay on. There's a minority leader, Aruna Idrisu, has expressed concern over the growing job losses, especially in the financial sector. According to him, government has not handled the fallout of the collapse of 7 indigenous banks with its attendant job losses well enough.
Between August 2017 to August 2018, 7 indigenous banks have had their licenses withdrawn over liquidity challenges, leading to the loss of thousands of jobs. There are fears thousands of jobs will be lost as a result of the collapse of banks. Haruna Idrisu shares the concerns of the affected workers and wants something to be done about it.
We should be interested as a country, what is it that we can do to restore the dignity and honor, the reputation and standing of our financial institutions. I understand that there is a lot of panic with movement of money from indigenous banks. We should be concerned about the fate of our indigenous banks. Their contribution to the growth of the economy, the growth of the service sector, and employment generally must be jealously and religiously protected. But they must ring them in within rules to respect the regulatory mandate and authority of the Bank of Ghana and to keep it away from unnecessary political interference so that there will be some sanity in the banking sector and banking regime. But I'm particularly concerned about loss of jobs and whether or not there will be capacity to pay severance award. What happens to the wives and children of the affected persons as school reopens? What is it that the government of Ghana can do to find new life to those institutions as possible? Don't forget that the US did it when they had a financial crisis. The state came in. Let's see what role the state of Ghana can play. I generally do not think that we've handled this matter properly. Thank you.
Now, the Finance Committee of Parliament has been presented with a report from KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers on the 7 collapsed banks. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Mark Asibe Yeboah, says the receivers and the Bank of Ghana have worked out some compensation for workers of the liquidated banks.
Those who just walked out would be the receivers, KPMG, for the 5 banks whose licenses were revoked 1st August. So we are still in gathering information and going over the documents. You can see these bulky documents here from Pricewaterhouse KPMG that we have here. And these deliberations have been very useful. As we indicated yesterday, we reserve the right to invite them. And so they are satisfied with that. So going forward, after we've concluded this first phase, if the need arises, we reserve the right to invite them to come and attend upon the committee again. The receiver, as a matter of fact, is accountable to the Bank of Ghana in its functions. So they don't report to us. But because matters like employees' severance, those who worked with these banks, is involved here. We wanted to know when former workers of, say, UT Capital Bank would get their severance packages. As a matter of fact, they gave us the details, how they have arrived at the packages that they are going to pay them. And if you go into the law, it will take some more time before these severance packages would be paid. But we have the opportunity to engage with the Bank of Ghana so that some of these could be fast-tracked. It's been a year since these workers were laid off, and I think it's about time that those severance packages are given them.
Our citizen journalist Gilbert Nyideho reports on the abandoned borehole project at Bekpo in the Volta region.
Here is Bekpo in the Akachi South district. As you can see over here, this tap have been started during the 2016 election. Since that time, this tap have been made. This tap that doesn't flow. So we are appealing for those in charge to come and do something about it. Gilbert Nyideho, Bekpo, Akachi South district.
You can also get through with us with your video report on development issues and issues of concern happening in your area. 055-1433-044 is the number.
Got some business news coming up for you. That's some more business news here on News 360. Stay with us.
You're still watching News 360. Good evening. Thanks for staying with us. Time for business with me, Anikia Mensah Brampa. Beginning with tonight, Ghana is to receive the second allocation of compact funds from the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, in the amount of $190 million. After the Ghanaian government met all the required conditions to access the funds. Now, upon entry into force of the Ghana Power Compact September 6, 2016, MCC granted access to the first allocation of compact funds in the amount of $308.2 million, and MCC's investment in Ghana Compact totals $498.2 million. Let's move on to some more news tonight, and panelists at a forum in Accra have challenged government to elevate local content policies into law, and they argued illegal backing would ensure stricter compliance by foreign companies and promote the patronage of indigenous products.
In Ghana, several initiatives have been taken over the years to build capacity through local content requirements. However, Imani research findings show that there has been a greater impulse to apply local content to several sectors of the economy through the use of distinct local content policies as pertains in the oil and gas industry. However, draft local content policies have emerged for the downstream petroleum sector, construction, as well as coastal and inland water shipping. Minister for Works and Housing Samuel Atachia was of the view that misalignment and lack of cohesiveness among key stakeholders concerning local content policy has undermined its implementation. He pushed for local content policy to have legal backing.
I propose that there should be a budget line. Every year, the Minister of Finance will have a budget line and see how we bring our locals to a competitive edge, so we have money for that. A whole arrangement in which the local content is being supported in terms of governmental intervention.
Founder of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, explained that although Ghana continues to sign on to lots of trade liberalization agreements, which allows for foreign products to enter the market, restrictions were not being addressed.
We want foreigners partaking in our economy to be above board and make clean disclosures about their minimum local content declarations.
The forum was themed, "Is Ghana ready for more local content?" Lessons from 8 comparator countries in 5 economic sectors.
And Serene Insurance Company is set to change the insurance space in Ghana through the introduction of its indemnity insurance policy. Managers of Serene Insurance are optimistic this will uphold professionalism and sanity in the insurance space.
Insurance officially launched.
A member of the First Sky Group, Serene Insurance is poised to provide customers with relevant and innovative insurance policies which meet diverse needs. A special product that the company is introducing is the indemnity insurance. Also referred to as professional liability insurance, it is a supplementary form of liability insurance which protects specific professionals or service providers, including doctors and the media, in the course of their duty. CEO of Serene Insurance, Chris Bwedi-Mensah, assured that his outfit will provide tailor-made products to meet the needs of their clients.
Our vision is to be the leading model for delivering value all the times in the insurance industry through innovative products and efficient operations that will enable us to generate sustainable employment for our people.
Group CEO of the First Sky Group, Eric Sedi Kutoche, said the group will uphold high moral values to ensure the protection of customers' policies.
Our time-tested core values of excellence, hard work, touch of quality, integrity, and the good corporate governance, and the most importantly, service to God and mankind, has remained key features of our story so far.
Deputy Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, Kofi Ando, charged management of the company to observe good and high corporate governance.
To really be good to see Serene Insurance find
innovative solutions to the challenges the industry faces in such areas as underwriting, distribution, payment systems, and claims.
Cyril Insurance also has motor, aviation, fire and allied perils, marine and general bond insurance.
And let's head to the port now, where the Deputy Transport Minister, Titus Glover, has charged the management of the Meridian Port Services to stop the sighting of containers at the port. On the sidelines of a maritime seminar for journalists in Accra, he argued that practice and devanning were under the mandate of the Ports and Harbours Authority and should not be abused. Meridian Ports and Services was established in 2002 as a joint venture between the GPHA and the Meridian Ports Holding Limited, which comprised of Bolo Group and APM Terminals. It currently handles about 80% of stevedoring works, shore handling, storage and delivery of containers. The remaining 20% is handled by GPHA and other local stevedoring companies. According to the Deputy Transport Minister, Titus Glover, MPS has taken over the responsibility of opening of containers, which is the work of the GPHA, affecting the revenue levels of the authority.
Today, when you devan one 20-footer container, it's about 700 Ghana cedis. Averagely, they do about 100 boxes. If it goes higher than 100, then you can imagine the arithmetic in that. Gapua can lose over 70 to 80,000 Ghana cedis a day if they are devaning that. So the GPHA Director General must inform MPS and let customs also stop.
On the 35-year contract between the two parties, he said government was into discussions on a review.
We have submitted a report to my minister and is receiving attention as the Vice President's office, particularly the economic management team. So I don't want to go into the detail, but what we have done is in the interest of this country to make sure that the right things are put in place.
The seminar organized by the Shippers Authority was to update media practitioners on maritime issues. President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afel Moni, called for capacity building to enable journalists build on maritime reporting. Chief Executive Officer of the Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, said a new Shippers app will soon be launched as part of efforts to educate and engage shippers and the public.
The app is loaded with information on charges in the ports, vessel arrivals, maritime statistics, contacts and locations of shipping lines and agencies, industry news, a platform for shipping inquiries and complaints, among others.
Okay, so that would do for Business Tonight with me, Nanikia Mensah Brampa. There's more on 3news.com. Alfred is standing by.
Thank you, Nanikia, for business. Now, the youth with bachelor's degree have been identified to have the highest unemployment rate of 38.7% as compared to those with no qualification having the lowest of 5.8%. Now, in the Sustainable Development Goals Indicator Baseline Report, general youth unemployment rate was found to be more than double overall unemployment rates. Here's a report by Godfrey Tanam.
Unemployed persons are defined by the Sustainable Development Goals Indicator Baseline Report as those of working age who were not in employment, who carry out activities to seek employment if given a job opportunity. Apart from the youth with bachelor's degree having the highest unemployment rate, senior high school leavers follow with 24.1%. The report proportion of youth that are neither in employment, education nor training increased from 21.5% to 27.1% between 2010 and 2015, an indication that over a quarter of the youth in 2015 were inactive outside school or not in any form or training. Deputy Director of the National Development Planning Commission, Dr. Phyllis Adoyobo, indicated the report on unemployment suggests a critical moment for Ghana.
We have a very long way to go in addressing the critical issues around youth employment, and finding something useful for the youth to do in terms of training, in terms of education or employment, rather than the youth wasting away, not doing anything meaningful with their lives. And It has a lot of implications on national development, ranging from national productivity to security, etc. So it's a critical thing that needs to be addressed.
Assistant Country Director in charge of program at the UNDP, Louis Cookpen, is of the view Ghana is doing well in the SDGs but needs to put in more efforts to achieve the goals on time.
We have to mobilize domestic resources for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. Secondly, we must have an attitude and mind change set. In fact, as individuals, sometimes we think that government is far away, but our inactions and actions contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. We have to also see that these goals are interlinked, and therefore, while we fight very hard to probably eradicate poverty, we have to look at how we also ensure environmental sustainability.
The Minister for Planning, Professor Jan Balfour, said government is taking the SDGs goals seriously and will incorporate the findings in the budget.
The Medium-Term National Development Policy Framework 2018 to 2021, which is the articulation of the major strategies for implementing the President Coordinated Program, provides a vehicle for the ministries, for the departments and agencies of government, and the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to prepare their respective detailed plans.
The target in terms of employment is to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men by the year 2030.
On some other news this evening, the campaign team of NDC flag bearer aspirant Professor Joshua Alabi has urged the party's leadership to ensure individual songs are not encouraged at party programs. At a news conference in Accra, spokesperson Victor Adawudu expressed concern about what he described as a deliberate move to promote former President John Dramani Mahama over other aspirants.
The campaign team was critical on the playing of former President Mahama's campaign songs at the party's programs, arguing that such tendencies could give him undue advantage at the expense of others.
As leaders of the party at various levels, when there's party functions and programs, they should not be used to give some aspirants undue advantage over others by allowing campaign messages and songs of particular aspirants to be used at such functions. It should be strictly party messages and songs.
The team stressed the need to deepen the process of decision-making and building the grassroots of the party.
We, from the Alabi camp, believe that our support base, the grassroots and others, feel that we need new message, we need a new leader to come. It is like a stage, the world. You come, you act, and you go. That gives the party opportunity to brand itself, rejuvenate, and come with a new message.
The campaign team urged the National Executive Committee and the Council of Elders to set up an election committee that will manage the process and supervise the elections of flag bearer.
We expect that the elected leadership will not allow the process to be hijacked by some persons for their own parochial interest. The actions and inactions of the elected leaders would either foster unity and social cohesion or otherwise.
The flag bearer contest has been slated for December 7.
Now let's just stay with the NDC. The Council of Elders of the National Democratic Congress has decided on Alhaji Hudu Yaya as aspiring national chairman as the consensus candidate for the position. What this means that after several hours of negotiations at this crunch meeting at the party's headquarters in Accra yesterday, the council proposed Alhaji Hudu Yaya for the chairmanship position in the party.
It means the four other aspirants, Dana Bodakwi, Samuel Ofoso-Ampofo, Danny Annan, and Mrs. Betty Mo Idrisu would have to step down for Alhaji Hudu Yaya to vie for the position alone. According to sources in the Council, a National Executive Committee, the aspirants have been duly informed about the decision on the consensus candidate. They are yet to respond. The decision, according to the Council, is to ensure unity and the highest level of cohesion at the top leadership level of the party. It is also aimed at avoiding an adversarial contest that could create further division in the party. All those who declared their intention to vie for the chairmanship post were made aware that the Council of Elders would decide on a consensus candidate before the close of nominations. As part of the consensus, any of the 4 aspirants who desired to opt for the vice chairmanship position were encouraged to do so. Negotiations on the contest for other positions that could create tension and division in the party are underway. In that regard, the Council asked National Executive Committee to extend the period for filing of nominations, which has been accordingly extended to September 19, 2018.
Now, Media General's 3 Foundation and MTN Foundation have presented a check of 72,000 cedis to support 2 hole-in-heart patients at the Cardiothoracic Center of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra. Group Head Corporate Affairs at Media General, Richard Ahiagle, praised donors for their kind gesture and asked other institutions to do same.
10-year-old Laura Jeans Tete from Hohoi in the Volta region and 2-year-old Reynolds Eswando from the Greater Accra region have been diagnosed of hole-in-heart disease at the Kolebu Cardiothoracic Center. They are beneficiaries of the Think Heart Save a Child initiative and beneficiaries for the second batch of 3 Foundation and MTN Foundation Social Support Initiative. The donation will be used to provide a total corrective surgery for the 2 children. Director of the National Cardiothoracic Center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Lawrence Serebo, commended Media General and MTN for the timely intervention as he received a check for 72,000 cedis. Parents of Laura and Reynolds could not hold their joy after receiving the check.
Actually, I cannot just express myself because it's like the whole world has been taken off my shoulders because I've been looking for this opportunity long ago.
We want to say thank you to Media General's 3 Foundation and the MTN Foundation for giving us the help we have looked for over 1 year.
3 Foundation and the MTN Foundation serve as a beacon of hope for those in need. Group Head of Corporate Affairs, Media General, Richard Kweku Ahiagle, made an appeal to individuals and other corporate organizations to also come on board and support.
We want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported the Think Heart Save a Child to date. We'll keep doing great stuff if you keep supporting us. So we have a number of other children who could benefit. So come on board. Every little donation will go a long way to make a difference in the life of these children.
The Sustainability and Social Impact Senior Manager for MTN Ghana, Robert Kujo, said the MTN Foundation is committed to supporting many hole-in-heart patients.
The MTN Ghana Foundation is happy to be part of this laudable initiative, which is in partnership with the 3 Foundation. I'm glad to say that this initiative has been able to support 4 children with hole-in-heart conditions, and the process is currently going on smoothly.
Donations can be made via MTN mobile number 0245 270081 on all networks. You can also make donations directly into the TV3 Social Support Fund with account number 6010603927 Zenith Bank.
It certainly is heartwarming to see the impact that the 3 Foundation MTN Foundation have, isn't it?
Absolutely. Let's save lives. We'll be back shortly with some more news in the world of sports. To stay.
Welcome back to News 360 on the international front this evening. In a historic decision, India's Supreme Court has ruled that gay sex is no longer a criminal offense. The ruling overturns a 2013 judgment that upheld a colonial-era law known as Section 377, under which gay sex is categorized as an unnatural offense. ruled discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation is a fundamental violation of human rights. Campaigners outside the court cheered and some broke down in tears as the ruling was handed down. Although public opinion in India's biggest cities has been in favor of scrapping the law, there remains strong opposition among religious groups and in conservative rural communities. But this ruling from the top court is now the final say in the matter and cannot be challenged. As such, it represents a huge victory for India's LGBT community. Thursday's ruling was delivered by a 5-judge bench headed by India's outgoing Chief Justice Deepak Misra and was unanimous. Reading out the judgment, he said criminalizing carnal intercourse is irrational, arbitrary and manifestly unconstitutional.
Two consenting adults have sex of any type in private, that there is consent and it is in private, it will not be an offense under 377. So 377 has been held to be, to that extent, unconstitutional.
Another judge. Well, you can get some more on that development and some more international news on our website. It's 3news.com. Coming up next on News 360 is entertainment news with Miriam.
Hello there, my name is Miriam Osei Ajman. Let's do some entertainment news tonight. Legendary actor Mac Jordan Amate will lay to rest on Saturday, September 8th. In a stunning career that spanned over 4 decades, Mac Jordan did a yeoman's job, bringing smiles to faces in stressful times. By popular request, we bring you a special throwback of the affable actor's movie times.
My sweetheart.
I didn't know it was 5 p.m. until I heard you knock at the door.
Is that right?
Oh, you are welcome, my dear.
Thanks so much. How is that today?
Everything is fine.
Good.
HM Films produced movie Fatal Decision was a blockbuster in the early 90s.
If possible, try and get a second wife just to see if God will bless us with a child.
The movie featured almost all the top actors then: Grace Norte, Reverend Eddie Kofi, Mercy Ofe, who played Mrs. Mensah, and star actor Mac Jordan Amate.
Now, Sarah, your game is up. And the show is over. Whose shoe is this? And that. And this.
I don't know anything about it. Please, it's a plot.
Mac Jordan, who was under a spell by his second wife, accused his loyal first wife of infidelity and sacked her.
Super Odi came and did all that. He went to our bedroom. He scrambled and just for the service to appear as if something had taken place. So when I got in from work, looked out, watched, and said, what is this? I suspected my wife.
Beyond the accusations were insults and name-calling.
A man like me, for somebody to have sex with my wife, you can just imagine. I bled and blasted her and all that. Insulting her, she'll go away. She should leave at once. At Sheo.
Well, he would surely be missed. Let's still stay with the late Mac Jordan. Now, here are some 5 things you probably didn't know about the late actor. Owutuwari brings us some more interesting memories of the legendary actor.
Beneath a shadow we abide the clouds of thy protecting love. Our strength, thy grace, our rule.
The multiple award-winning actor is also remembered for his petty quarrel and banter with acting partner Grace Norte.
He will pour out things for you to bring out whatever you have over there. Whatever you have over there, you bring it out. That's one thing about Mac Jordan. whatever he says, there'll be trouble. One time he was saying that I couldn't get it, I said, get out of here. Get out of here. Because I didn't know what to say. And he was coming to me like, just like, hey, Mark Jordan.
Lady, Mark Jordan was selling like hot cake. One or two of them caught glimpse of me. They screamed, hey, this is Sugar Daddy, Obram bro, Obiam bro, Sugar Daddy Wabo. And you could see many people running towards the direction I was. Wanted to shake hands with them. Oh, thanks to God. So really, I stood like, okay, he's a fact. Yeah.
Well, on that rather sad note, that's how we end entertainment news tonight on News 360. I'm Miriam Osei Ajman. There's more news on 3news.com, and I'll be on 3FM 92.7 tomorrow at 10 a.m.
And the memories of Mark Jordan and Martin
certainly will be remembered. Very passionate.
Absolutely. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you. My name is Alfred Okanse.
I'm Nasty Fort. Visit our website, 3news.com. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasurable evening.